Welcome. So I'm finding as I'm aging that I've had or am facing some new challenges, both physically and probably emotionally, mentally, that I think it's important that we figure out how to navigate through. And one of those is as I'm living alone, what my personal safety looks like around the house, around outside, and really just looking at how I'm going to deal with all of that and feel safe. Some are actual safety issues, and some are just things that I am probably fearful of or that cause me anxiety, both of which have to figure out how to navigate through those. I'm also finding that friends around my age and some family members have dealt with some safety challenges just recently that have caused me to really think about that. So that's what we're going to talk about today: personal safety around your home. I am Michelle, this is Silver Colored Glasses, and on this channel we talk everything aging, seniorhood, and entering that next phase of our lives. I am 2 weeks away from being 60 years old, and although that's unbelievable to me, I think that it's important that, as we age, we think about how things might be changing, and one of those things is around personal safety around the home. Of the physical changes and challenges that come with aging, but that we can work hard to sort of counteract, are things like lessening strength, balance issues, less flexibility, less stamina. And some of those things can lead to increased fall risk, for example. There's a lot of things that we can do to work through that and to keep our strength up and keep our endurance up and keep our flexibility up. But as we age, I know that a lot of us are facing some of those things. Around the increased fall risk is something that we have recently dealt with in our family and our circle of friends. We've had two close family members, one of which got very ill. She lives alone too. And on the second or third day, she was feeling really sick and weak. She tried to stand up, got really dizzy, and fell. And she was so weak from being sick that she was not able to get herself back up off the floor. She ended up being on the floor for 4 hours before she was able to inch little bit by little bit towards the couch and pull herself up. That was a really scary situation, and she has a medical alert bracelet or a necklace that she wears, but the battery was dead, and so she had taken it off earlier in the day and put it beside her on the couch, and so she didn't have that with her to call for help. Another family member had even more of a serious incident in terms of a fall. She tripped over her dog, and when she fell, she broke her shoulder and the bottom part of her arm here. And she was in so much pain and probably kind of went into shock a little bit. Was not able to get herself back up off of the floor. I think she's 75, 76, something like that. Was not able to get herself back up off the floor. And she was there for 8 hours on the floor trying to inch towards the front door to try to open the door to try to get some help. One of her family members actually came by to bring her something and found her on the floor. And so, again, very scary situations that none of us want to be in those kind of situations, I know, but we hear about those occasionally. So physical changes leading to some issues. Another physical change that I'm finding is my eyesight is changing, and so looking at am I safe to drive, making sure that my lighting in my home is adequate so that I'm not having some fall risks or any of that kind of thing. Forgetfulness can sometimes come with aging. Reduced reaction times, which can also lead to fall risk. And then also in terms of a cultural change, I am hearing more and more about as we're aging, some people look at us as being more of a vulnerable population to prey on in terms of identity theft and scams and even elderly violence and abuse. So that comes along too. So in terms of looking at that, and also I think too, I would also throw in there the risk of isolation and loneliness as we get older can cause some safety issues. And so I wanted to talk to you about that today and look at some of the things that I have put into place for myself in living alone and increasing my safety, but also looking at the future me. And my plan is to age in place here at my home. I have a one-level home that I bought a couple of years ago, specifically for the purpose of not having to go up and down the stairs any longer, and having a little bit of a smaller environment to try to take care of and navigate as I get older. So in terms of protections, that's the next step. So in terms of protections around increased fall risk, increased vulnerability, that sort of thing. In terms of addressing the fall risk issue, some things that we can put into place or start thinking about as we get older, making sure that, number one, that our environment is not cluttered, that we don't have a lot of boxes and things on the floor that we can trip over, get our foot caught on, that kind of thing is going to be really important. So decluttering if you can. If you can't, at least making sure that you have a clear walking path that you can get through is really important. Making sure that you have floor mats that are slip proof so that you don't step on a rug of some sort and have it slip out from under you, or doesn't get crumpled up on the floor so that you can trip over that. So that's something that will, is important to look at in terms of tripping hazard. I think grab bars. Railings, adding grab bars in the showers, having railings outside, or if you do have stairs, make sure that there's some sort of railing to hold on to when you're going up or going down is really, really helpful in your home environment. I had some that were installed outside on my patio. I have 3 steps that go down into my patio where I do my gardening, and had some railings installed there. And those have been immensely helpful, not only just because of the aging also, but just in terms of, in Wyoming, we have a lot of snow and ice. It's been really helpful to me, even in the wintertime. Looking at, in terms of falling hazard, making sure that if you need to get something high, that if you're going to step on a step stool, not getting up on these high ladders any longer maybe is not a good idea for us as we get older. But certainly there are some step ladders that are have the railings on them, and I have one that I'll show you here. In terms of getting up and doing things around the house that I can feel safe in getting up on. It's not really high, but it certainly will get me up to change a light bulb, for example. In the shower, making sure not only grab bars, if you can install those in there, but also if you have a tub underneath you and that might be a little bit slippery, making sure that there's some sort of mat, or they have the decals that are the textured kind that will help you from slipping in the shower and falling in the shower. Let's see. Night lights and motion lights, when we're talking about the lighting issue, those can be really helpful both outside but also inside. I have night lights in my home, in my bathrooms, and in my kitchen, so if I do get up at night to let the dog out, or whatever that might be, that those automatically come on or stay on through the nighttime, so that I can make sure that I can see when I'm navigating through the house in the dark. Then in terms of slipping and falling risks too, just making sure that you have good footwear that is not going to be easy to slip on, has good tread on the bottom, those, the really good snow boots and footwear if you're going to go outside. Making sure that you have regular snow removal if you live in areas that gets a lot of snow. and making sure that that your walks and your stairs and all of that's kept clear. And it's also, I found, really nice to have some ice melt or some sort of salt or something outside each one of your entrance doors or exit doors, so that you can spread that out and make sure that you don't have any kind of slipping hazard outside. Also, there's some decals that you can buy, and also some little rug mats that you can put on your stairs as well outside, that will add some texture and some tread, so that those aren't as slippery when they get wet, or if there's some ice and snow on those too. So those have been really helpful. The new Apple Watches, my sister actually asked me to get one of those. She's real concerned because I do live alone, and I'm outside a lot in the garden area at night and early in the morning, and really just concerned that if I'm out there, I don't always take my phone. I will take my phone outside with me, but I'll leave it wherever the last time it was that I set it down. So she asked me if to get one of those, and so I do that when I go outside. I don't wear it a lot during the day, but if I am outside working or something like that where I might put down my phone, I have my Apple Watch, so I can call someone for help if I need it, and it's with me all the time when I'm outside. So that has made me feel safer, and certainly has made my family feel safer, knowing that I'm here by myself. What other protections? Setting up a safety plan. I think that that's important. Is it important for your family that you are checked on every day, or that you are checking in with them, just so that they can feel some peace of mind if you're living alone? But also, as we get older, even if we're not living alone, I think that that's helpful for our family, and also gives us some peace of mind too. There's a couple of apps that you can use. I don't know if Alexa has that capability. I do believe it does. Also, you can get the panic alarms, and I have a panic alarm now that I just carry on my keychain at all times. Not only if I'm in danger, but also if there's some sort that I need to alert somebody. Forgetfulness. Now again, we can do a lot of things to keep our mind alert, doing puzzles and computer games and learning new things, and taking classes, and just that constant sort of challenge to our minds can be really helpful. But I do know that a lot of us struggle, including me, with some forgetfulness, and so I found some things around safety that I really need to pay attention to. One of those is having some sort of reminder to shut things off, especially if they're things that get hot or that are electrical in some ways. So I just recently bought a curling iron that automatically turns itself off after, I think it's 2 minutes or something, of no motion. And so that's been a good addition to my home, because I found that I had forgotten a couple of times to turn off my curling iron after I was using it in the morning. Another thing was my coffee pot automatically turns off now. And I also know that the electric teapots, electric kettles, have a turn off function. And so, just things like that we might just forget as we get older, to make sure that we don't have things that might start a fire or, something like that. I've also just recently set up an alarm on my phone if I light a candle. I love candles. But I forget to blow them out occasionally, and so I always make sure that I set an alarm on my phone. And then also, obviously, different kinds of candles that don't actually have a flame on them that you can purchase as well. So you can get the same ambiance around having a candle, but don't have to worry about an open flame or something that you might forget later on. So those are just some protections that you might think about around forgetfulness or changes in your mental abilities as you get older. In terms of being seen as more vulnerable as we age, I think that's something that, it's not something that we want to think about, and that can be scary. But, there are multiple multiple scams that go on for purposefully scamming the elderly populations. And that is, you know, around, again, our identity theft, computer scams, phone scams, you know, calling and saying that you're going to be arrested if you don't go down to the bank and withdraw this money and get this to them. And, you know, they create this sense of urgency and fear in people, and people get caught up in that very easily. So just be, you know, just be mindful of that, those are, you know, we're targeted specifically because they think that we're not going to pay attention, or that we might be able to, they might be able to take advantage. And so just being really careful about that, and, you know, always questioning if somebody's asking you for money that you didn't reach out to, that you didn't initiate, you know, it's okay to stop. Even if they're saying that it's urgent, check with your bank, double check with your bank, double check with a family member, and just say, hey, I'm getting these calls. I don't quite know what they are. You know, can you walk through this with me? It's just nice to have a double check around that kind of stuff, because they're happening all the time. And so just be really careful around that. Also, in terms of being considered a vulnerable population as we age, I think, you know, having some sort of self-protection around your home, whatever that might be. Again, I talked to you about the panic alarm that I have on my keychain. I also, when I'm traveling or I'm out by myself, I have a little thing of mace that I just keep in my hand as I'm walking. When I'm walking the dog, I have a little mace canister in the little pack that I wear when I'm outside walking the dog. You just never know what's going to happen. My niece, actually, she has a service dog assigned to her, and she was walking across a park. This was a couple of years ago, and two male dogs came up and tried to attack her dog. And so she let go. They're trained with the service dog to let go of the leash of the service dog, let them fend for themselves. But it was a really scary situation. Somebody actually ran over and tried to intervene, and did intervene with her so that nobody got hurt. But you just never know whether it's another animal coming up or somebody coming up to you, just feeling like you have some sort of protection. And then also just being very aware of your surroundings, you know, when you're walking outside, or if you're walking into your home, just being very mindful. You know, is the door still locked the way that you left it when you left? You know, is there a light that turns on automatically, or when you first come into the door, so that you can make sure that you can see what's in there, that you're not walking into a situation that might be harmful. And I think home surveillance cameras, you know, that could be a good idea for everybody. I just got one. I just am in the process of hooking it up for my front door. But they're very inexpensive now, and really easily, this one sticks to the window. So you don't need a lot of extra tools or anything like that to install. And, you know, I think that can give you some peace of mind too. I can see with the one that I bought, and I'll share that with you. But I can see on my phone any kind of motion that's been detected, and you can set it at different levels for notifications and things like that. So that makes me feel a little bit safer at night as well. Because with my front door in particular, I have this issue and I need to get it fixed, but I had to switch out my front door after I moved in. The front door that was there when I originally moved in was not working, not closing correctly. And so I had to replace the door, and the handyman that installed the door for me, I asked him to put in a peephole in their front door. And he did that, and it looks really great. However, I am 5'6", and he is way over 6 feet, and he must have put it in where he could see out the door, but the peephole is way up here, and I can't see out of it. And so other than opening my front curtains, which I don't want to do if there's somebody that is at the front door that I don't know, I want to be able to see who's at the front door. So that camera is going to make me feel a lot safer, I know. So it's just something to think about. Again, the automatic sensored lighting outside and inside, And also too, if it makes you feel safer, you know, if you leave and live alone, I used to when I was younger, when I would come home at night in the dark, I would leave some sort of music on or something on so that I wasn't walking into just this dark, you know, silent thing. Neighborhood relationships, that's a really good thing to have in terms of, you know, just knowing your neighbors. If you have a chance to get to know your neighbors, you know, they have a tendency to check on you, you check on them. I just recently met another neighbor who has chickens. We got to visiting because I had bought a chicken coop and put it in the backyard. I was going to get chickens. I still hadn't done that, so he was out walking and asked me about it. But since that time, I feel a little bit safer knowing that he's just across the street, and we now have introduced ourselves, and you know, it's just this, you know, everybody kind of watches out for each other kind of a thing. So I think that that's important to reach out to other people. Asking for help. Ask for help if you need to have something done around the house. You know, it's okay to ask for some help. My kids are very helpful, but also, like I said, I had the handyman come and do the door because I didn't know how to do that. So it's okay for us to, as we age, ask for help. And then making sure too, just physically, that again, that you're keeping up with your regular checkups for medical, dental, all of that kind of stuff. Have a good routine for, you know, strength building and flexibility training, and all of that kind of stuff will increase the likelihood that you might not have problems down the road in terms of increased fall risk, forgetfulness, all of that kind of stuff. So let's just take care of each other and take care of ourselves too. What are your challenges? What kinds of things are your family members facing as they get older? Please, if you have some ideas, or if you've conquered something or found something that's been really helpful, leave it downstairs or leave it down in the comments below for all of us so that we can have a conversation about it. You know, I think it's important that we're just mindful about how things might change as we get older. We can live alone successfully. We can feel safe. I feel very safe now in my home with some of the things that I found. And, you know, I think it's just a matter of thinking through those kinds of things and coming up with a plan to meet the new challenges that we might be facing. So thank you so much. I think I've got everything on my list, and I really appreciate all of you joining me. If you found this video helpful, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it's really helping pushing my channel out to other people. And also, you know, hit the reminder button so that you can come back and join me the next time. So thank you so much. Have a great night, and I will see you next time.